working with me, she couldn't even have a talk in like a gathering or in a group of people or talk with people she didn't know and stuff like that, right? But last Saturday, she ran a 5K. Like, I didn't tell her to run a 5K. She just said, you know what? I've got this. I want to run a 5K. We had a little chat about it and she did it. And that's another thing that she ticked off from her list of things that she's always wanted to do. And this is what happens, right? People come for the nutrition and the fitness, but they get what they get out of it is beyond what they could have ever imagined, right? And this is what happens when you work towards changing one's behavior. Okay, so today's conversation is super important because again, Paribuchai, right? Again, the year is ending, 2022 is ending, subhanAllah, it's just come and gone in a heartbeat, right? So many lessons, so many wins, so many smiles, so many tears, so many emotions, but it's going now. And I wanted to share this video in case it's a video that you needed to hear going into 2023, because this is the thing that a lot of us struggle with. Like, every woman who comes to my coaching, I'm not going to say every woman, but the majority of people who come to work with me, they're one of the biggest challenges is lack of consistency. So they would start something, it would go really well for a few weeks, even a few months at times, right? And then it all just stops and they go back to their patterns of behaviors, to the eating that didn't serve them, to the making excuses of why I can't exercise, right? And again, those excuses seem really real, right? So consistency is a problem for a lot of us. So today's conversation is very much around what I have seen from my experience as being the reasons why. Why do people struggle to stay consistent? So one of this, I'm going to share three things, right? One of the things is unrealistic expectations of themselves and of the journey, right? When people start this journey, there's this often thought of, oh my God, I am gonna go all in, I am going to change my life 360 degrees, and it's gonna happen, and it's gonna amaze it, and everything is going to just be great, right? And I'm gonna be able to work out 5 to 7 days a week. I'm going to eat clean, whatever that means, right? I'm gonna do all these things. It's almost like there's this list of things that happen that she has to tick every single day in order to control everything, because that is the expectation that a lot of us have of ourselves, is here, right? And yeah, we may be able to do that for a few weeks when the kids are in school, when work is not as stressful, right? When you haven't got people around, like you're not at your in-laws or in-laws aren't around, when things are amazing in terms of relationships with your man and all these things, right? And it's going great. It's easy to kind of like hit those expectations that you've set for yourself, right? And for the journey. And then life happens, right? The kids are off from school, or you have a kid who's unwell at home, or something's happened with your partner and you're just not in a good place emotionally, or work gets stressful and stuff like that. And then now suddenly those expectations look really, really, really high, and they become really, really hard to reach. So every day you try it, you can't reach it. It starts to feel too hard. And the result of feeling too hard, you start to talk down to yourself. Oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I can't do this. Right? Oh, I don't have enough willpower. Oh, I don't have enough determination. Oh, this or that. And that self-negative talk that makes you just stop it altogether because it all gets too overwhelming. And I see that all the time because my niche is working with the busy women, working mums, right? Moms who run households, moms who run companies. And life is hard, life is challenging, right? So when you start this journey, one of the things that you really want to do is manage expectations. Of course, we want to expect the best from ourselves and stuff like that, but also self-compassion is absolutely key in this journey. You have to have self-compassion towards yourself. Right? If every time you didn't hit the expectation that you had of how that day was going to go or how that week was going to go, right? If the result of that is then talking negatively about yourself, putting yourself down and stuff like that, seeing yourself worthless, incapable, why other people can do it, I can't do it. If that's the language you're going to have, if that's the dialogue you're going to have with yourself, you're never going to stay consistent with it, because it starts to feel too overwhelming. And the moment things start to feel overwhelming, what we do as humans is we just stop and we run. You know, the whole idea on flight, freeze, and all that stuff, right? So managing expectations is so important in this journey. Yeah, I want to be able to achieve A, B, C, D, but hey, what can I do today, given the season in life that I'm in, that I can complete today? Look at your low-hanging fruit, right? What can I complete today? Because if you set your expectations at a level that you can complete, that you can hit, that's going to leave you feeling competent. And that competence, that feeling of, I've got this, I can do this, that's what drives you forward. But if you set expectations too high and you can't reach there, and all it does is leaving you feeling deflated and incapable, you're just going to stop. So managing expectations about what the journey would look like, expectations of yourself, is absolutely key in this journey, right? The second point is instant gratification, right? We all do it. I do it, right? It's that need for something to happen now, now, now. It's that want to feel good and amazing now, now, now. It's like, I want results yesterday, right? So what I tend to see is, you know, someone would come and say, you know, I've been working on this journey for 2 weeks and I'm not seeing any results and data and all these things, right? And part of that is going to that expectation of, oh, I've been doing it for X amount, I should see results now. Why? Why do we assume that we should see results straight away just because we've worked on something for X period of time? I mean, the behaviors we build over years, that's taken years to build. I'm not saying we should take years to get results. Results are usually faster than that, but right, we need to be okay with it taking time, because that instant gratification is what puts a lot of us in trouble. This is why people sort of, you know, give in to their cravings, even if they know it's not healthy for them, because I want to feel good right now. I don't want to sit with this feeling. I don't want to sit with how I'm feeling. I just want to shut it down. I don't want to feel this way, so I'm going to eat everything that comes my way to stop feeling how I'm feeling. But then 2 seconds later, you start to feel guilty about your feeling. And then the cycle continues. So how would it look like if you were okay with delayed gratification? If you thought bigger, if it wasn't about the wedding that's coming next week that you want to lose 5 kilos for, right? If it wasn't about the dress that you want to fit in the summer when you go on holiday, if it wasn't about that, if it was about you 5 years down the line, if, hey, I know I may not get results straight away, but 5 years down the line, I'm going to be a different person, because guess what, Habibti? Time is going to go by anyway. So you may as well spend that time doing something that's actually going to serve you, right? As opposed to reaching for something that's only going to leave you feeling good at that moment in time, gratify you at that moment in time, and halas, it stops. And that's what we often do. This is why people go for things like crash diets, because they can give you quick results, but then you gain all the way back, right? These people, why do things like detoxes and all these things? This is why us women buy into these non-existing magical solutions, because we think they're going to give us results quickly. There's nothing that's going to give you results quickly. delayed, if you're going to practice anything in this journey, is practicing delayed gratification, being okay with it not happening in a heartbeat, being patient with the journey, taking it one day at a time, taking one step at a time. And I say this over and over again, the brain doesn't take big leaps. It's the small steps and the compounding effect of the small steps that you're taking that you don't notice. There's a compounding effect there. And a year from now, a couple of years from now, that's when you start to see, oh my God, who was that person 2 years ago? I don't even recognize her. Because you stayed consistent throughout. You did it in a way that didn't overwhelm you. You did it in a way that didn't stress you. You did it in a way that you could sustain long term. You did it in a way that merged with your life. You didn't rush for the sake of instant gratification, because you did it that way. You're able to stay consistent with it. Now, I have had athletes who've lost a bunch of weight in a few months. That can absolutely happen. But that still happens, not because of their need for instant gratification. Half of them don't even realize that they've lost weight until one day they go, actually, Israel, I didn't realize I lost 15 kilos. Because that's what happens when you stop getting stuck to the outcome. When you focus on the process, the day-to-day things that you can do to get to the goal. Stop focusing on the weight. Stop focusing on the goal as the means of success. Focus on what's going to get you there. Right? And if you focus on these processes that you can consistently do day to day, you will reach there. Regardless of the time it's going to take, you will reach there. Because what is the other way? You complaining how slow it is and then stopping, how is that going to serve you? It doesn't serve us, right? Because that's what we do. We stop, and then we stop back to square one. And then we begin the journey again, and then we stop, we complain, it's not fast enough, and then we go back to square one. It's never ending. So how would it look like if you said, you know what? I'm not going to time how long this is going to take. I am going to do it because it's important for me. It's important for my health. It's important for the 5-year version of me, 10-year version of me. It's important for the version of me that's 78 years old. Because yeah, your life right now will dictate your life then by a big percentage, right? So be okay with not getting results in a heartbeat. Don't give in to your need for instant gratification, right? The third thing that I see that happen a lot is the lack of understanding of the basics of nutrition. I have a lot of athletes who, again, and by the way, someone asked me yesterday, well, she was requesting my service, and she said, oh, but I'm not an athlete. And I told her my definition of athlete is very different. My definition of an athlete is anyone who's not buying into the excuses, right? Anyone who's doing something to get themselves out of their comfort zone, because that's not easy to do. As long as you're working out, as long as you're eating healthier, you're an athlete. Because that's not easy to do unless it's a habit you build over time. So when I say athlete, I don't mean competitive athletes. I'm just talking about incredible women who actually work harder, right? They run businesses, they raise children, right? They look after their homes, they're doing all these things. And on top of that, they're still able to look after themselves. They're not making excuses of, oh, you know, I haven't got time, or this, or that, or that. Yeah, we all don't have time. I'm sorry to say we all don't have time. But at some point, we have to make it work. It can't be life or health. We have to find a way to merge these two things. And my athletes do that. They're doing it, and they're doing an incredible job at it. So yeah, they are my athletes. They are absolutely athletes, right? Now, what tends to happen, a lot of these women, when they come to me, they're like, oh, you know what? I'm okay with staying on top of my eating and my exercise when I'm not too busy. But when life gets busy, I just can't plan my meals, or I can't prep my meals and all these things. It's almost like there's this assumption, right? To be healthy and to be fit and to eat well, you need to plan everything. Mate, if that was the case, none of us would be able to do it. As a homeschooling mom of 4 kids, youngest being 4 years old, working from home, yeah, my schedule is, half the time I'm on here and there's a kid knocking at the door, right? The only way you're going to stick to this journey is by being flexible in your approach. And this is absolutely key. Flexible in your approach, in the process, but also flexible here. It's about knowing how to juggle it in a way that works for you. I'll give you an example, right? You've planned to go for a workout today for an hour at the gym. Suddenly, you get a call from school, your child is unwell, you have to come pick them up, which means they're going to be home, which means you can't go out to the gym. A lot of people would go, oh, you know what? I can't work out today because I'm home. I can't get to the gym, which is true. You're not going to leave your kid alone, right? But what if you thought, okay, so I can't go to the gym. What can I do? I could work out from home, but I can't work out for a whole hour because then I'll be leaving them by themselves. They may need me to cuddle them and make them feel better and all that stuff. How about I do a really intense workout for 10 minutes at home in front of them while they're watching me? So I can just go in and out. Right? So it's very much thinking along those lines of being flexible in your approach, as opposed to being so fixed in your approach. Because a lot of us, okay, to work out, I need to do it at the gym. I need to have my gym gear on. I need to have my meals prepped. I can't have anybody around me to watch me exercise. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. And all we're doing is we're putting barriers in front of ourselves. That's it. That's all we do. All these check boxes that we want to tick, they're all just barriers in front of ourselves. And every time you didn't tick something, it serves like a really good excuse to not do that exercise. You know what? I had a muffin for breakfast. I already started my day, but I may as well just continue with eating whatever. I'll start again on Monday. I'll start eating healthier on Monday. Who says you can't have a muffin and be healthy? What does a muffin have to do with health? I had a muffin for breakfast yesterday. In fact, I don't often have breakfast, but if I do have breakfast, then it's going to be a muffin. Right? So when you understand the basics of nutrition, the basics of exercise, the basics of, hey, what does health look like? You're going to be able to be flexible in your approach in a way that it merges with your busy life. And this is what we do with my athletes. But in the community that we created, there's always discussions that are happening about, hey, what can I do for this? What can I? And people get ideas from this. We learn from each other. We are okay with exploring things, exploring the different approaches, because there is no one best way. Everybody's life is different. Everybody's experience is different. Everybody is at a different season in life. So how can we approach to have a fixed approach in being healthy, in losing weight, in managing diabetes or PCOS and all these things? We can't. It doesn't work because life is not linear. And when you're so fixed in your approach, what tends to happen is you're able to sustain that when life is not busy. But when life is throwing you curveballs, you're stuck. You don't know what to do because your routine now is out the window. Your schedule now is out the window. What do you do next? You get stuck, right? This is why understanding the basics of nutrition, understanding the basics of exercise, and then applying them into your life in a way that is flexible, in a way that you can switch and swap and change depending on how your day goes. That is how you stay consistent. So if you go for the new year, saying, you know what, 2022, I wanted to be healthy and fit, and that didn't happen, but I want to be healthy and fit in 2023. Even if all you took from this conversation is one of these points, just practice one of them. You'll experience your journey in a different way. Okay, so in a nutshell, the three things that I see all the time that people struggle with: number one, unrealistic expectation of themselves and of their journey. Number two, the need for instant gratification. And number three, the lack of understanding of the basics of nutrition and fitness, and how to be flexible in your approach so you can merge it with your busy life. None of my athletes are on restricted diets, right? None of my athletes are on a meal plan. None of my athletes prep their meals before, unless they're going to work, they have to take their lunches. Yeah, obviously they do that, right? But even when they can't do that, they still know what to do in those situations. But they're still getting incredible results. Why? Because they have learned how to make it work for their season in life, for their level of busy. They're flexible in your approach, and they're open to trying new things. Okay, that's it from me. I just also wanted to quickly say today's the 21st, only 10 days left before the early bird pricing ends for my 12-week behavior change program that's starting in February. I only have a few slots left. Honestly, the one after this is May, and that's going to be higher price. So if you've wanted to work with me, if you're finding it hard to stay consistent and be healthy and fit and lose weight and all these things on your own, then reach out. See if my programs suit you. See if we can work together. Like, you literally have nothing to lose, right? But don't let another year go by with you just saying, oh, I really want to be fit and healthy, and then nothing happens, because time is going to pass by. You don't want to look back a few years from now going, oh, I wish I had done something then. Okay, all right, that's it from me. If you found this helpful, if you could relate to this, if you have any thoughts about this, any comments, anything at all, pop them in the comments, and I will talk to you soon. And if I don't talk to you before then, because I am looking to just chill with my family in these last few days of this year, inshallah, I'll talk to you in the New Year's, and have a good one. Assalamu alaikum.